Hey Jason, my name is Vishal. I'm a longtime Twist fan and co-founder of withjoy.com. Joy is essentially Facebook for weddings. We have a wonderful app and a website, completely design focused, and we have done a bunch of weddings now and they have gone splendidly well. We are about to come out of stealth and go public. And my question to you is that now that we have 45 days to launch, what is it that you would recommend us do to make a great and a successful launch? Thank you.
Okay, great question. I get this question a lot. How should we launch our company? We all have to launch our company. You only get one launch. So first and foremost, I would ask yourself, am I ready to launch the company? Is the product tight? Does the product have mistakes or errors or crashes or bugs or any kind of problem? And are we launching at the right time? There's a lot of different theories on this. Some people like to launch early, get feedback. Some people like to wait till it's perfect. I'm in the camp that you want to have it pretty close to perfect, and you want to keep your tests very quiet. You can do them in a stealthy fashion. You can basically have your product tested in Canada if you're from the United States with a small group of people under a fake name, right? There's all kinds of different little tricks that people use. Let's assume your product is, good or very good, 85%. I think doing a mini press tour, showing it to people, and starting to think about what is your goal. You want to get people to sign up. What people do you want to get to sign up? Well, if you're raising capital, you want to do industry press. That means you want to try to get picked up in the Launch Ticker, TechCrunch, Mashable, VentureBeat, etc. If you're doing, that's technology industry press, startup press, because you want to get to investors. Now, do you want to get actual users? That's a different group of press. So in your case, if it's a wedding site or if somebody else is doing a comic book site, you might want to get into comicbook.com if that exists, or you might want to get into a wedding bridal magazine, right? So when Stowaway, the cosmetic company I invested in, when they came out to do their press, they were focused on all the beauty magazines. They weren't focused on business publications or technology publications. So you got to pick who you want to do. And it's very simple. The founder should just email the journalists who are covering the space, and they should tailor their email. It shouldn't be a cut and paste job. Pick 10 journalists, read their last 3 or 4 stories and say, "Dear Jason, I see that you've covered some photo sharing apps before and some wedding apps. We have a new entrant, and we have an NPS score of X, and people love the product. Here's how it works. I've attached some screenshots. Would love to get coffee with you for 20 minutes or do a screen share and show you what we're working on. I think it's quite notable for these reasons." Super short, super to the point, visual, etc. Number 2, you want to have a launch video. People love video. People watch videos. So get your launch video ready. And if you give a launch video and animated GIFs to the press, they will cover it. So when I launched Inside and our Inside verticals, I made animated GIFs and gave them to the journalists I was talking to. And that really helped because they have something to put with their story, right? That's having collateral. So you really have to define what you want to get out of your launch, and then you can pursue it that way. Some people are looking to raise money. Then you want to target the press, the financial press, the VC, angel, startup press. Some people want to get customers. So you just have to make that decision. And there's plenty of endemic people who want to do that in your case. I think giving it to one person if they do a long story is a good idea. If not, you can try to get 5 or 6 people to do it. Having your investors email the press is also a good idea. Product Hunt is becoming very popular. People have me posting it to Product Hunt because they have more followers there. So finding somebody who already has a lot of followers, asking them to put it on Product Hunt at 7 a.m., and then emailing all your investors, all your family, all your friends, and saying, "Hey," and I don't know if you're allowed to do this or not, but we really, we're up on Product Hunt. You know what to do. Code for please vote us up. Please write an intelligent comment. So, and you got to have a little bit of an angle here. So your weddings for Facebook, that really, to me, is kind of weak, right? It's like social network for weddings. You got to really have some killer feature. Or a better peg, right? A better angle, because there's wedding apps everywhere. So without knowing your app and its features, but if it said, "Hey, the key feature of the product that people are dialing into is crowdfunding for weddings, and we had 3 weddings that were crowdfunded, and here's how it worked," that's kind of interesting, right? So find some angle in your software which is palatable to journalists. How do you figure that out? Well, if you talk to a journalist friend and you say, hey, what do you think is interesting about my product? And they say nothing. And you say, well, what do you think of these 10 ideas? Which of these 10 ideas we have is the most interesting? Let them tell you. I think this is the most interesting. This is the second most interesting. Ask 5 other people which 2 are the most interesting, then make a ranked list, and then go to your team and say, hey, listen, everybody thinks crowdfunding for weddings is the killer one, to crowdfund for a honeymoon is a killer one, and everybody thinks this new app which stitches together everybody's best of videos automatically from the wedding. If they, submit them to this email, and we basically make a wedding video based on everybody's phones, because the phone's really good. Wow, that's a pretty good idea now that I think about it. If you had that service, which was wedding videos, as a crowdsourced wedding videos, your guests taking videos, and then they stitched it together and made sense of it all, boy, would that be interesting. And so you have to understand what's interesting to the press. And some features you add to your product because they're press bait and they're marketing bait, and then other ones are the core of your product. So you'll see this all the time. When Uber does Uber for kittens, it's not like there's a huge market out there for people to bring puppies and kittens to people's offices to play with. It's obviously for dramatic purposes and PR. When they do ice cream, it's fun and people like ice cream, but people are not using Uber for ice cream every day yet. Maybe they will someday. So those little, fun items are something that you can figure out by just making a list of features, asking your friends to check off on a list which 2 are the most interesting. You could also do this if you had emails and just set up a Google form and say, we're thinking of launching 10 products. Which 2 do you think are the most interesting? Just most interesting, right? So get feedback and plan your product roadmap against a press tour, right? So you have a press tour every 3 months, every 4 months, little press hits about some interesting feature coming out in your product. Good luck with it. Thank you for the question.